Testing, 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 testing. Give me 1 minute. This message is titled The Way. Africans were always dark skinned people, okay? Always dark skinned people up until recently. Okay. Uh, All right. I want everybody to go to Isaiah chapter 28, whoever's here. Isaiah chapter 28. Isaiah chapter 28. Give me 1 minute. I apologize. Okay, let's go to Isaiah chapter 28. Isaiah chapter 28. I want you all to understand something, especially you Christians. Isaiah chapter 28. I'm going to go to Isaiah chapter 28. And I want to start with verse 11. Isaiah chapter 28, and I want to start with verse 11. Okay? Isaiah chapter 28, and I want to start with verse 11. Okay? Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 11. Now, this is Christ speaking, so I want to come off with this verse because I want everybody to understand something very important, right? This is Isaiah chapter 28, and this is verse 11. And I want you Christians to pay very careful attention what's going on here, okay? He says, for with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. Okay, so that's Isaiah talking. So I need everybody to understand something, right? Isaiah is pretty much saying that Christ, the Most High, right? He's saying this in the Old Testament. He's saying that Yahuwah, the Most High, is going to talk to this people. Okay? Well, he says he's going to talk. All right. I want everybody to go to Isaiah chapter 28. Okay, that's what I wanted right there. Isaiah. I was hoping that I could hear it. All right. So it says here, Isaiah chapter 28, verse 11. It says, for with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. So when Isaiah was speaking right here, y'all do understand that this was written in Hebrew, right? You do understand that, right? This was written in Hebrew. This wasn't written in English. And I understand that we all speak English today. But there are certain things that we have to understand, okay? There's certain things that we got to understand. So if you do your research, you understand that the Old Testament was written in Hebrew and the New Testament was written in Greek. Now, I got some other literature that says that leads me to believe that the New Testament was also originally written in Greek, but that's not what we're here with. That's not what we're here for tonight, right? So now we're here because we want to understand something very critical, okay? we want to understand something very critical. The reason why a lot of things are misunderstood in Christianity today is because Christianity does not incline the authentication of the Bible. Okay? And many of you think that you don't need it at all. You think that all you can do is believe in Jesus, and that's the end of the story. So I'm going to read this again right here, and then I'm going to move on to something that's very important. He says, once again, and this is the Most High talking, or this is either that or it's Isaiah speaking for Christ, and Isaiah is telling the Israelites right here that for with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. Now, it says this people. Now, I need you all to understand something. If you're a Caucasian, if you're a Chinese, if you're Arab, I need you to understand that this people is not talking about you. Now, I know that makes a lot of people upset, but I want the truth to set us all free. This people. So this people, it means that Christ here is speaking to a specific people. Christ is speaking to a specific people. Now, with that being said, let's continue to move forward. So we know that Christ, it says here, this people. Now I want to go to something else. I want to go to something else that Christians tear down. I'm going to go to Exodus. I'm going to go to chapter 20. I want to go to Exodus, and I want to go to chapter 20. And I want to go to verse 7. I want to go to Exodus chapter 20, verse 7. And this is a commandment, right? Thou shalt not take the name of, says the Lord, but we all know that the Lord replaced his name Yahuwah over 6,000 times and some change. So in case there's anybody out there that don't understand this, wherever you see the Lord, and I've told you all this thousands of times, wherever you see the Lord, which means Baal, or means Baal, which is another name for Satan. It's very important that many of you understand that Satan put his name in place of our Creator's name. So if you are a Christian, or if you are somebody that's in a camp, or you are a Jehovah's Witness, or you are a Baptist, or you are, I'm going to say the Nation of Islam, because the Nation of Islam use the Bible a lot. They're not like Orthodox Islams. Although the Nation of Islam is foolish in the likeness of Orthodox Muslims, but they do at least use the Bible. The Nation of Islam at least uses the Bible a little bit more than they use the Quran, which confuses me. So I'm going to include the Nation of Islam, and I'm going to include all Christian what do they call it? Denominations, or whatever the case may be, right? No matter what religion that you're in, right? I can't be too loud because my people's asleep. So no matter what religion that you're in, right? No matter what religion that you're in, I want everybody to pay very careful attention to this. And I told you this, and many other people have told you this thousands of times. Wherever you see the Lord in the Old Testament, even in many cases in the New Testament, wherever you see the Lord in the New Testament, in some cases it should say the Master, not the Lord, because the Master and Baal are two different people. And wherever you see the Lord, which is Baal or Hail Baal, it should actually say Yahuwah, the name of our Father, the name of our Creator. Now, I know this is not important to a lot of Christians. I understand that. This is not important to a lot of you. I understand that. But also when it comes to the name God, I want you all to understand something. As I've told you thousands of times before, you really didn't listen until I posted the white boy and let the white boy say it. When I let the white boy say it, then there's no problem. All of a sudden, there's no issue when the white boy say it. The white boy learned from me. I taught the white boy. Okay? Well, I didn't teach him, but he watches my account. Believe me, the difference between that white boy and other white people is that white boy is humble. You got to understand, in order to get wisdom, you have to be humble. So many of you say I'm disobedient. Based upon what? I'm disobedient based upon slander. I can see many of your disobedience through the phone screen. When I go on Facebook, when I go on Instagram, and when I go on YouTube, I can literally see and hear your disobedience. You show your disobedience. Your disobedience is before the world. You don't call him by his name. You continually say that the imposters over there in Israel are the true Israelites and are the true Jews, which to me is either you're stupid, a traitor, or you're that stubborn. Which one is it? Either you're that stubborn, you're absolutely stupid, or you're a traitor. So I want to know Christians out there that continuously say, and I'm about to call your name. I'm about to call your name. I'm about to put you on blast on the internet, and I'm going to challenge you. And if you want to challenge me, I'm going to trash you and your doctrine. You all need to stop saying that the imposters over there in Israel are the true Jews and the true Israelites spoke about of the Bible, because they're not. They're converts, Kaiser converts that have nothing to do with the nation of Israel. You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I'm about to say your name. I don't care anymore. Okay? So now, once again, this message is titled The Way. So this is one part of the way that Christians denounce, that they destroy, and they bring to vanity. They bring to nothing. They bring to nothing. The camps as well. And what is that? It says, thou shalt not take his name, thou shalt not take the name of Yahuwah thy in vain. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh away his name. That taketh his name in vain. So now people say, well, his name is not in the Bible. So okay, his name is in the Bible. His name is in the Bible. Okay? It's in Revelations. Hallelujah. It's in Psalms chapter 68, verse, what's that? Psalms 68, verse 4. Let me see if I got it right. Psalms chapter 68. Is it Psalm 68 and 4? I need everybody to go to Psalms chapter 68 and 4. Everybody go to Psalms chapter 68 and 4. Everybody go to Psalms chapter 68 and 4. Everybody go to Psalms chapter 68 and 4. Do not let Nat of IUIC tell you that his name is not in the Bible, and don't let him tell you that his name is not important, and don't let him tell you that we can call him anything that we want to call him right now. Or what Nat of IUIC insists, that we can use the name that the Romans gave us. It's funny how a man that constantly speaks so uplifting, allegedly, about us being Israelites and about us being the true people of the book, yet he insists on using a name that was given to us by the Romans. Let me say that one more time. For all of you in IUIC with cognitive dissonance against that coward, and with that coward and that cult leader, for all the people within IUIC, I know you got the donkey face right now. You got the donkey, and that last message that you gave Nat, that last message, Nat, that you gave the Nephilim, that message was trash. I wanted to say something about that message so bad, but I was busy. I could also tell that right about now there's a lot of rumors going on. I can kind of make the rumors out by going down the top, but I didn't have time to get on social media like that this week. I was supposed to do this message earlier this week. I wanted to do this message Tuesday. That's the reason why I didn't announce it, because I didn't want to say the message was coming and I wasn't sure when I was going to be able to drop it. So I promised this week. It's the end of the week, but I still kept my promise. Psalms chapter 68, verse 4. Psalms chapter 68, verse 4. Psalms chapter 68, verse 4. And it says, sing unto, it says God, but it should say Elohim right there. Sing unto Elohim. Sing praises to his name. So we know wherever we see the word God, it should be the word Elohim. Wherever you see the word God in the Old Testament and in many places in the New Testament, it should say Elohim. In some places in the Old Testament, it should actually be his name. Excuse me. In some places in the New Testament, God, in place of God, should actually be the name. Some places it should be Elohim, and some places it should be the name. Psalms chapter 68, verse 4. Sing praises unto Elohim. Sing praises unto his name. Extol him that rideth upon the heavens by his name. Yah, 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 by his name. Yah. But I understand the evil when Satan grasps somebody's mind. I'm disobedient. We will see tonight who's disobedient. Who is the one that giveth knowledge? Many of you out there, you lack knowledge, and you learn from me in a gaslighting form. Many, many people out there, millions at this point, learn from this malak, and then they gaslight. And then they go to their platform and they act like they invented the information, or they thought of the information. That's a lie. That's foolishness. Extol him by his name, Yah. Now, somebody who's not familiar with the way, somebody that's not familiar with the way, somebody that might not be familiar with the way, will look at that and say, well, that doesn't say Yah, it says Jah with a J. The letter J is only about 800 to 1600 years old. The letter J was only invented about 800 to 1600 years ago. The letter J was only invented about 800 to 1600 years ago. 800 to 1600 years ago, the letter J. The letter J is only at the very most, 1600 years. This is Psalms during the time of our king, David. This is David talking. This is about 4,000 years ago. This is about 4,000 years ago when this took place. 4,000 years ago. The letter J was not even thought about during this time. The council of the as the Bible continued to be translated, the Caucasoid folk continue to get their hand on the word, and they misconstrue the word in order to deter people from the way. Let me say that. I want to say that 3 more times. As the Bible goes throughout the course of history, it is constantly the Caucasoid, the Grecians, the Romans. They get their hands on the Bible and on the Word of God, and then they take it and then they manipulated it. They shuck and jive with it in order to deter his people, in order to deter Christ's people, in order to deter Yahushua HaMashiach's people from the way. I'm going to say it one more time, not 3 more times. I'm only going to say it one more time. During the course of history, as the Bible is constantly retranslated. Why? Why was the Bible retranslated over and over about 3 times? Okay? About 3 times, 3 major translations. During the time of Ezra, I can't think of all the times right now, but two of the major times that the Bible was major times that the Bible was retranslated. One time was with Ezra, and one time was with King James. Those are the two major times that the Bible was retranslated. Okay, during the course of the past 5,000 years, as the Bible was retranslated, other nations got their grubby little hands on the Bible, and they shucked and jobbed with it, and they manipulated it, and they twisted it, and they bounced it, and they did this, that, and the third to it. Only what they could do to it. They couldn't do but so much to it because Christ didn't allow them to do but so much to it. But the little that they could do to the Bible was very detrimental, and this was to deter the Israelites, to deter the Jews, to deter the southern and the northern kingdom, to deter us all away from the way. The way. Now, I want to go to Isaiah chapter 30, 19 and 21. I want to go to Isaiah chapter 30, 19 and 21. I want to go to Isaiah chapter 30, 19 and 21. Isaiah chapter 30, 19. What did I just do? Isaiah chapter 30, 19 through 21. I just erased the goddamn thing. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 19. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 19. While I try to find this goddamn thing again. Isaiah chapter 30. I think this is it. Okay. Isaiah chapter 30. We're going to do a little bit of Isaiah tonight. Isaiah chapter 30. Isaiah chapter 30, 19 and 21. Isaiah chapter 30, 19 and 21. Okay? Isaiah chapter 30, 19 through 21. Isaiah chapter 30, 19 through 21. Now listen very carefully. Isaiah chapter 30, verses 19 through 21. For the people shall dwell in Zion. Okay, what people? I need all the nations out there to think, what people is he talking about? Is he talking about Caucasian people? Is he talking about Arab people? Is he talking about Chinese people? Is he talking about Hamite descendants from Ham, people who are Ham without Israelite blood? Is he talking about pure Hamite breed? Is he talking about Russians? Is he talking about? He says, for the people shall dwell in Zion, and the people shall dwell in Zion. So there is a specific people that will dwell in Zion. He's not talking about all nations. All nations will not dwell in Zion. You understand that? Once again, I'm not saying that a Caucasian person cannot be pardoned and come to the kingdom and do the bidding of the Israelites. I'm not saying that a Chinese man cannot be pardoned and come to the kingdom and take out the trash. I'm not saying that Arab man cannot be pardoned and come to the kingdom and be the chef. Well, probably won't have to eat, but I'm not saying that a Russian cannot come to the kingdom, right, and mow the lawn. That's not what I'm saying. You all can be pardoned. You all can come and be bondsmen and bondsmaidens in the kingdom. You will be in a bond. You will be under the course of slavery. You understand that? Those who put people in captivity will go into captivity. You understand? The kingdom of heaven has 12 gates, 12 entrances. I want you all to understand this. White people, don't get mad at me. I welcome you to here so you can learn, so the truth can set you free. I'm not speaking hatred, Caucasian. I'm not speaking hatred against you. I'm not speaking hatred against you, Chinese man. I'm not speaking hatred against you. I'm not speaking hatred against you, Arab man. I don't hate you. I'm not speaking hatred against you. It's very simple. And I want the Christians to understand something, that some of these things are very, very simple. The way is simple if you're humble. If you're a stubborn person, if you're somebody who lacks humility, and you're somebody who lacks accountability, and you're obstinate, and you just refuse to follow the instructions, if you just refuse to be obedient, if you are a Christian that just refuses to be obedient for any reason, whether it's 501c3, whether it's because you waver for the public, whether it's because you know if you tell the complete truth, nobody will like you. So whatever the reason is, whatever the reason for your disobedience, you understand what I'm saying? I want you all to understand something. It says before I say that, there are only 12 entrances into the kingdom. Not because I hate y'all, but because Christ said there's only 12 gates into the kingdom. That's why. Not because that's the way I want it to be, not because I hate y'all, not because I don't like y'all, not because I'm biased, not because I'm a liar, not because I'm evil, not because I'm wicked, not because of any reason except for Christ said it. Christ said one gate for every 12 tribes of Israelites. There is no gate for a Christian. There is no gate for a Muslim. There is no gate for a Baptist. There is no gate for a Caucasian. There is no gate for an Arab. There is no gate for a Chinese person. There is no gate for Christmas. There is no gate for Thanksgiving. There is no gate for Halloween. There is no gate for the Easter Bunny. There is no gate for Mother's Day. There is no gate for Father's Day. There is no gate for men. A lot of you men out there that your wife stepped out on you and fucked somebody else and you took her back because you're a coward and you're a pussy. There is no gate for beta men. You're a woman and you struggle constantly with your husband and you don't want to listen, or you try to power your boyfriend in a relationship and you wonder why he won't marry you, or you constantly eat shrimps and lobsters or all of these things and constantly eat pork. If you're a homosexual man, if you're a lesbian woman, there's no entrance into the kingdom for a homosexual man. There's no entrance into the kingdom for a lesbian woman. There's no entrance into the kingdom for somebody that does not follow the way and constantly eats abominations. You understand that? There's no gates for any of these people. There's only a gate for the tribe of Levi, the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Benjamin, the tribe of Gad, the tribe of Zebulun, the tribe of Naphtali, and whatever other of the other 12 tribes are. And then even you have to be a righteous Israelite. Only 144,000 righteous people will be able to walk in the gates I don't see what problem that y'all have with this. The reason why I'm constantly frustrated, the reason why I constantly got some smart shit to say is because of the cognitive dissonance, the foolishness, and the stupidity. Nobody pays attention to what the Bible says. Exodus chapter 20, verse 7 says, do not bring the name of Yah to nothing, but you call him God after learning the truth. I understand. We all called him God at one point, at one time. But you call him Jesus. I understand. We all called him Jesus at one point, at one time. But somewhere in Hebrews chapter 12, y'all got to follow me, where Paul says, after you come into the knowledge of the truth, there remains no more sacrifice for your sins. He says, if you willingly sin, if you willingly, because you want to be malice and stubborn and obstinate, if you willing continuously call him God after coming into the knowledge of the truth, then there remains no more blood sacrifice for your sins. If you keep calling him God after constantly, you know that, especially when you know that truly the name God is the name of the devil, the name of the devil. God is the name of the devil. But we all call him God. I called him God too. Even sometimes I still slip up. But where is your respect? Where is the respect, and where is the courtesy, and where is the love? Where is the respect, the honor, the courtesy, and the love? I love Jesus Christ. I love God. Oh, so okay, fine. You just said that you love the devil twice. Jesus is the name of the devil. God is the name of the God is his direct name. God is his given name. Christ gave him that name. So I understand. I speak English. We all speak English. He says that he will speak to us in a stammering tongue, with stammering lips, and a different tongue. Why? What is he talking about? Talking to us right now in English. But why is it so? Why is it so that we are talking in stammering lips right now? Because if you are an Israelite, if you are any one of the 12 tribes, this planet, this earth was created for you. This earth was created for you. I understand I'm making a lot of people mad right now, but I need you to find the lies. When you can find the lies, then you can get an attitude with me. If you don't like the way I say it, go find another teacher, and I bet you, and there are other good teachers, but they're not as blunt as me. I found that even some of the teachers that I admire on YouTube, they are limited. The things that they say are limited because they're all under 501c3. All of them. I used to exclude a certain husband and wife, and I said, nah, not them, but it's becoming more obvious. How they always watch, yeah, okay, I know you got triggering words, and think F-U-C-K, the triggering words. Come get me then, because Christ, the truth is the truth. There will be no wavering and no mercy here as I speak the truth. You understand that? So listen, it tells you here, he says, now, where are we at? We're in Isaiah chapter 30, 19 through 21. Isaiah chapter 30, 19 through 21. Isaiah chapter 30, 19 through 21. And it says, for the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. Thou shalt weep no more. He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer you. So this is a prophecy. He's saying that when the trouble of Jacob comes, during the tribulation time, at the end of the trouble of the Israelites, those of us who are alive will be crying out to Yahuwah, and he's going to answer us. But if you think that you're going to be screaming up in the air and you're going to be saying, God, God, Jesus, Jesus, the Lord, the Lord. If you really think, after all the teachings and all the opportunities that you will have to respect his name, if you really in your heart believe that he's going to answer to the name of Satan, if you think that Christ is going to answer to because at that time you will know his name. There's no way in hell during the end of the tribulation period, and you are one of the people that are still alive. If you're still alive, you are already, that tells you right there, you a thorough one. You definitely calling him by the name Yah if you're still alive. Then anyway, but there are people that's going to fall during the tribulation period. Disobedient Christians and disobedient people in camps. Disobedient. They're going to fall because they will not call him by his name. All because of a cult leader. All because you worship a rotten, cowardly, stinking, pussy ass, slanderous man. All because you are listening to a man. You will refuse to call him by his name, extol him, he who rides on the clouds. Extol him by his name, Yah. It's right there. It's all through. It's even more places here in the Bible. But you all are not allowed to labor to interpret. Your cult leader says you don't need to labor to interpret, even though y'all say shalom. Isn't that a Muslim word? Right? It's certain. Y'all want to give certain names, right? That's in the Bible. That's in Hebrew, of Hebrew origin, but you can't respect Christ's name in a Hebrew origin, right? Now it also says here in verse 20, Isaiah chapter 30, verse 20, it says, "And thou, the Lord, give you the bread of adversity." And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity. So we're going to find out who he's talking about here. So Christ gives some people the bread of adversity. So you all want to say that I'm disobedient, right? Okay. Your only proof that you got that I'm disobedient is slander. That's it. That's it. That's the only proof that you got. You got no videos, no pictures, no recordings, no recording messages, no nothing. The most you're going to get out of you, the most, if you record my conversation, the most you're going to get out of me is you're going to probably hear me fucking my wife. You're going to hear me on the phone with my brother, and we always make fun of people. We always talk shit. Me and my brother do a lot of cursing, and, on the phone or whatever or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? We may talk about tits and ass on the phone. Yep, we do. But you don't have anything. All you have is the malice in your heart and the want to believe that it's true. That's it. Let me repeat that. All you have is the malice in your heart and the deep and desperate want to believe that it's true. Okay? That's all you have in your heart. You don't have anything but hatred for the prophets of God. That's it. That's it. That's called demonizing. Right? And a lot of it comes from because many of you know you lack integrity. Many of you are wrapped up in 501c3, and you know you lack the integrity. Many of you are cowards, and you know that you're a cowardice person. And so you look at a brave person, you look at a brave heart, and you demonize them. Check your heart. So it says, and though Yahuwah will give this type of person the bread of adversity, in other words, to overcome, and the water of affliction. So these type of people, he gives the bread of adversity and the water of affliction. We're going to see who he's talking about in a minute. He says, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. So I'm being removed into a corner, meaning I'm being gaslighted. The real teachers are hated on. The real teachers go through the adversity and the affliction. Many people out there do not know why they even hate me. The only way, if you go to somebody right now, why do you hate him? The only thing you really got is maybe because I use the word stupid and dumb. And that's a legitimate reason. But what reason do you have outside of that? If I never use the word stupid or dumb, what reason would you have outside of that? Because I'm ugly? You hate me because I'm ugly? Because I'm missing a tooth? You hate me because I'm missing a tooth? What reason do you have? Do you heifer like me? Are you a cowardly man and you feel bad about yourself? Are you somebody who's in entertainment? Or are you an internet guru with a handler? Are you a person in entertainment that sucked dick or grabbed your ankles? Are you a female in entertainment that left your husband or committed adultery against your husband? Are you a lesbo? These are the only people that hate me. Are you somebody that sacrificed your family member? Only dishonorable people hate me. There's not one honorable person that hates me. Anybody who is accountable. We talk about somebody who is accountable. And don't get me wrong, calling people dumb and stupid is a legitimate reason to get hated. I'm going to be accountable for that. And I'm trying to repent, but it's constant stupidity. And it's hard to stop it because people don't listen to simple things. People that claim that they listen to the Bible don't listen to the Bible. Actions speak louder than words. Don't you understand this? I'm a Christian. I'm righteous. I'm a good person. I'm this. You're a liar. The majority of you all out there are liars. T.D. Jakes was a liar. Creflo Dollar was a liar. Right? Many of you Christians on the internet are liars. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just giving you the truth right here. That's why Paul said, have I become your enemy because I told you the truth? Yes. Yes. I will not be back tonight. Now, I know you got to see me, hun, online. You have to see me online. Please stop forcing me to answer the phone. Keep calling. You got to see me online. You have to. I will get with you tomorrow. Have I become your enemy because I told you the truth? Is that it? Have I become your enemy because I tell you cowards the truth? Let's go to verse 21, Isaiah chapter 30. Let's see who he's talking about. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21. And thine ears. So this specific type of people, they will have the bread of adversity, the water of affliction, and they will no longer be removed into the corner, will no longer be gaslighted in the kingdom. We're going to be top of the food chain. And these type of people, thine ears shall hear a word behind you. So people like this, our ears will hear a word behind us, a word behind thee, saying, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. Walk ye in it. Walk ye in it. Walk ye in this way. Walk in this way. So this way today is called Christianity, right? But Christianity is a false conception of the way, a false perception of the understanding of the way. Because Christianity says that you can call him Jesus and you can call him God after learning and doing your research and found out the true name. Now I understand it may take a little bit for people to get adjusted to the name. But I need you all to understand this is not about the name, by the way. This message is not about the name. But I'm trying to give you all an understanding of something, right? When you are somebody that walks in the way, I'm not a Christian. I've never been a Christian. My ancestors were never Christians. If you are a Negro and you are an Israelite, the word Christian is a false word. The word Christian is an idiotic word. It needs to be thrown in the trash. Well, what difference does it make? Perception and understanding. It's not a whether or not you're going to go to hell for being called a Christian and calling other people a Christian. No, that's not the case. The likelihood is Christ will not send you to hell for calling yourself a Christian. But I want you to understand why it's important to have the perception and understanding of authenticity, of where the way began, and understanding the way. You understand this? So it says here, after he says, this is the way, it says, this type of people, we're going to hear a word behind us. We're not going to get fooled. We're not going to get fooled into constantly being called Christians. We're not going to keep getting fooled to constantly call him God. We're not going to keep being fooled to constantly call him Jesus. We're not going to keep being fooled to constantly saying the Lord. We're not going to keep being fooled to think that we can do whatever we want to do and still get into the kingdom. We're not going to keep being fooled for none of these things. You understand what I'm saying? We're not going to keep being fooled for none of these things. It says here, and thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, this is the way. Walk ye in it. When ye turn to the right hand and when ye turn to the left. Do you know what that way is? That way is what you all call Christianity, which is truthfully the spirit of Christ. The way has always been the way. The way has always been the way. It has never been called Christianity. It has never been called Islam. It has never been called Jehovah's Witness. Now, let's go to Judges. Let's go to Judges, chapter 13 and 5. Let's go to Judges, chapter 13 and 5. Judges, chapter 13 and 5. Let's go to Judges, chapter 13 and 5. I'm going to try to do this in 2 hours. Judges, chapter 13 and 5. Let's go to Judges, chapter 13 and 5. Let's go to Judges, chapter 13 and 5. Let's go to Judges, chapter 13 and 5. It says, this is talking about Samson. This is the reason why I named one of my sons Samson. Listen carefully. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite. 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 For the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb. and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Let me read that to you one more time. This is talking about Samson, when Samson was a baby. This is why I named my son Samson. My names were strategically chosen, not just because they were in the Bible. The same thing with Samuel. Samuel and Samson were strategically chosen names by me. I didn't just pick them because, oh, that's a Bible name, and that's the Bible name that I like. No, my names were strategically chosen. Let's read this again. This is talking about Samson. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come to his head. This is why Samson's hair was his weakness. No razor was supposed to come to Samson's head. For the child shall be a Nazarite. For the child shall be a Nazarite. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb. And he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Samson killed a lot of the Philistines, right? And he was considered a savior, not the savior like Christ, but he was considered a deliverer, right? And Samson was called a Nazarite. Now, a lot of people confuse Nazarite from Nazarene. A lot of people confuse Nazarite from Nazarene. I want to school y'all so you can understand. For those of you who are skillful in the Bible, many of you may have said that the original term for a messianic, which is not Christian, but many of you say that the original term for a messianic is Nazarene. Not quite true. Nazarite and Nazarene are not exactly the same thing. A Nazarene is somebody who was born in Nazareth. So Christ was considered a Nazarene because he was born in Nazareth. But he was also a Nazarite, somebody who was separated. Another definition for Nazarite is a set apart one. Somebody who's separated unto Yahuwah. The definition of Nazarite is a man or a woman, specifically a man. I don't think a woman can be a Nazarite, but not in the same way. The definition of a Nazarite is a man who is separated into Yahuwah, who only worships Yahuwah and nobody else, who only stands and walks in the way. The definition of a Nazarite is somebody who walks in the way. Okay? It's not where Nazarene means that you were a native of Nazareth. But Nazareth became Nazareth because it derived from the word Nazarite. So the word Netzer, and we're going to get to that in a minute, okay? We're going to get to that in a minute. Okay? Matter of fact, not just yet. Not just yet, but give me a minute. So let's go. Matter of fact, let's go there now. Isaiah, we're going to do a lot of Isaiah tonight. So before I leave here, I want to make sure everybody is clear on this. Okay? Samson was one of the first people that they actually referred to as a Nazarite. Meaning from the womb, Samson was considered somebody that would walk in the way and would be set apart only to Yahuwah and nobody else. No man, no cult leader, no cult master can come and tell me that I'm a Christian. No man on this planet is going to tell me that I'm a Christian unless I'm ignorant. Only ignorant people and people that remain ignorant will continue to get called Christians. Never in your life call me a Christian. You understand that? None of y'all. Don't call me a Christian. Don't call me a Muslim. Don't call me a Baptist. Don't call me none of that shit. I'm none of that shit. I'm a Nazarite. I'm somebody who's set apart in the way of Yahuwah. Now, I'm not a Nazarene because I wasn't born in Nazareth. I wasn't born over there in Bethlehem. Okay? So, I wasn't born in Nazareth. Okay? Which I believe Bethlehem is in Nazareth, right? Or is it the other way? Is Nazareth and Bethlehem? One or the other. Okay? So, I'm not a Nazarene, but I'm a Nazarite. I'm not a Christian. All right? So now, let's move on. Okay? Let's move on. And what is a Christian? What is a Christian? It says here, this is the Caucasian definition of Christian. This is the Caucasian definition of Christian. What is a Christian? It says here, one who professes belief in the teachings of Jesus Christ. Let me repeat that. A Christian is somebody who professes belief in the teachings of Jesus Christ. Now, let's not be stupid, right? Let's not be stupid. I understand that many Christians think that they're walking in the way. Some of you actually are. Some of you that are humble and constantly make changes. But for those of you who are obstinate and you constantly fight, and you constantly misinterpret the Bible because you don't have knowledge. You don't have knowledge because you're not being given the knowledge by Christ. If Christ isn't giving you the knowledge, you are disobedient. You understand where I'm going with this? Let me repeat that because I think many of you are not understanding these things. Okay? You get knowledge from being obedient. What part of that don't y'all understand? So I guess this knowledge I have, I guess my teachings, and I guess all the things that I teach you all this evening and every other evening, I guess it's just, where is it from? I can't give myself credit like many of you all like to come on the internet and act like you knew this, you knew what you knew from the beginning of time. I understand that you have to show confidence when you teach. We all have to show and exhilarate confidence when we teach. I understand that. But there is a certain humility that you have to have. The people has to understand that your wisdom does not belong to you. My wisdom is not my wisdom. This wisdom that is given unto me is from above. The Bible says that wisdom cometh from above. The reason why Nat of IUIC, the reason why his last message was trash is because he's losing his wisdom. Christ will take your wisdom, you clown, you slanderous clown. Christ will take your wisdom and wrap it up and ball it up and throw it in the trash because you are now a trash teacher, a false teacher. That's what you are. And you are the one that has lost respect from your wife. You have lost respect from your congregation because you are a coward. You will constantly fall and fall and fall and fall and fall, and all your slander will be destroyed. And I will rise above it like the Malak and the lion that I am. And you are a hyena in the jungle, and I'm a lion. And everything that you say about me will come tumbling down. All of it. There's no way in hell that you're going to box with Christ. No way in hell. I don't care if you got 5,000 soldiers, nigga. You can't box with Christ. Okay? You can't box with Christ. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about you, but not right now. So let's go to Acts. Let's go to the New Testament. Let's go to the New Testament. Let's go to Acts chapter 11 and 26. Acts chapter 11 and 26. Let's go to Acts chapter 11 and 26. Acts chapter 11 and 26. Acts chapter 11 and 26. This is Acts chapter 11 and 26. This is Acts chapter 11 and 26. And it says, and when he had found him, he brought him into Antioch. And when he had found him, he brought him into Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. So here it is, we got the word Christian, right? And Christians will say, see right there, the word Christian, the word Christian, the word Christian. The word Christian is in the Bible. Let's go to Acts 26 and 28. Acts 26 and 28. Acts 26 and 28. Let's go to Acts 26. Is that it? Yeah, 26 and 28. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to become a Christian. Almost thou persuadest me to become a Christian. Everywhere the word Christian is only in the Bible 3 times. The word Christian is only in the New Testament 3 times. The word Christianity is nowhere in the Bible. The word Christianity is not found anywhere in the Bible. So we got a problem. So the word Christian is in the Bible, but the word Christianity is not in the Bible. Well, why is that? Certainly, if we find the word Christian, we should be able to find the word Christianity. Right? We got the word Christian in the Bible 3 times, but we don't have the word Christianity in the Bible. Okay? So let's go to 1 Peter 4:16. 1 Peter 4:16. 1 Peter 4:16. 1 Peter 4:16. It says here, yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify Elohim on his behalf. So if you remember in Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21, verse 19, it says that a Nazirite, somebody who follows the way or a follower of the way, is going to have affliction and adversity. So we need to understand this, right? When you're truly following the way, you must face adversity. If you're not facing adversity, then that means you are not a child of Yah. Now, all of the nation, all black people, all Negroes, all Israelites face more adversity than any other nation. So even if you a nigga with a little bit of money, you still face adversity, right? If you're a nigga with a little bit of money, you still face adversity. But there are people whom are Nazarites who must go through even more adversity. We all got adversity. We all got shit that we have to overcome, that we all have adversity that we have to conquer over and over and over again, right? But I need y'all to understand something. It says here, yet if any man suffer. So another word for that word suffer, you can actually go down to verse 19 and you can find it. Another definition for the word suffer is passion. Passion. That's why the movie was called Passion of Christ. Another word for passion is to suffer. Now, you can actually suffer in a good way, in a bad way, and you can suffer in a good way. A lot of people don't know that. Suffer is not only negative, it can also be positive. Okay? So the word suffer is interchangeable with the word passion. Okay? Now, let's keep reading, right? Because it says here, yet if any man suffer, so everywhere where you see the word Christian, everywhere where you see the word Christian, you're to take it out, because Christian is a modern Caucasoid English or Latin. Christian is a modern Caucasoid Latin word. It's derived from Latin language. Christian was never used in the Old Testament. The word Christian didn't exist. In the Old Testament, the followers of the way were called Nazarites. Nazarites. So, anybody that's a follower of the way, stop going to church on Sunday. Stop going to filthy, dirty, dumb church. If you are somebody that really want to learn the word, some churches are okay, but it's just at the end of the day, they're all 501c3, so it's really hard for me to recommend any churches, because they're all upheld with the 501c3 tax exempt. Therefore, they all lack authentication and are unable to teach you the way in its completeness. So my advice, if you're somebody who is humble and you are still in your ignorance and you call yourself a Christian, throw that word Christian in the trash. Stop going to church every Sunday and stop listening to people with a Christian mindset. Take these people and stop eating off of their tables. And understand and never let anybody call you a Christian again. And understand that you are a Nazarite, somebody who is a follower of the way, somebody who is consecrated and separated unto Yahuwah. And you do not love the world, you do not love religion, you do not love Christianity, you do not love Islam, you do not love Baptist, you do not love Jehovah's Witness, you do not love Catholicism, you do not love Judaism, you don't love Christmas, you don't love Halloween, you don't love Mother's and Father's Day, you don't love the 4th of July. You hate every false way. I hate every false way. Every false way, I hate it. I hate it with a passion. all religion. I hate religion. I hate religion with a passion. All of it. Now, I want to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11 says, For other foundation can no man lay. I don't like the way the King James writes it. So basically, what Paul is saying in 1 Corinthians 3 and 11, that there's only one foundation that can be laid. Nobody else can lay any other foundation but Yahushua HaMashiach. The word Christ is also a new word, but I'm not going to step on Christ because I use Christ a lot because Christ just comes from Christ, Christianity, Christian, right? That's all modern terms from Latin. Those aren't the original terms. I don't step on the word Christ and kick it out because there's still a lot of people that don't understand. I'm aware that there are a lot of people who are still in ignorance, and I'm not mad at you for being in ignorance. What makes me angry is that you want to stay and remain in your ignorance and then act like I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me repeat that. Because a lot of people need to understand why I get mad. I don't get mad because you simply don't know. We were all there at one point. At one point, I didn't have a goddamn clue. Right? At once upon a time. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with not knowing. I'm saying that there's a problem when you don't know shit and you act like you know shit and then you look at me like I don't know shit. That's the problem. You're so obstinate and stuck in your ways that you don't know a damn thing, but will swear on your mama and your daddy and your wife and kids that you do know shit. And then you will look at me and tell me that I'm wrong and I don't know shit. That is a stupid person. You are not stupid just from just not knowing. There's a lot of things that I don't know. And a lot of people like to come at my neck because they think that they say I act like I know everything on the internet. So if I go out somewhere and it's something that I may not understand about something, especially the women, well, you don't understand that, well, you don't know that, they try to come at me but see, listen, you don't have to be upset because I call you out on your ignorance, right? If I don't know how to operate a certain kiosk or something like that, that's not equal to I'm willing to, me personally, I'm a humble person. If I don't know something, I'm gonna say, hey, listen, I don't got a clue. What's this and what's that about? You only become stupid when you become arrogant. It's arrogance that makes you stupid. If you don't want to be called stupid, stop being arrogant. Bring yourself down, and what you don't know, apply yourself to learn and to search it so that you can study yourself approved. See, this is one of the problems with a lot of religious leaders out there, specifically punk ass Nat. He think he knows everything, but he really knows very little. And he wants to look at somebody who he actually learns from. Here's the oxymoron. He learns from me, gaslights me, tries to teach it like he didn't learn it from me, right? Then you can say I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't understand that one. You'll see what Satan will do to you. Now, I want to go to Exodus chapter 31. I want to go to Exodus. I want to go to Exodus chapter 31. Exodus chapter 31. Exodus chapter 31, and I want to go to verse 18. Exodus chapter 31. Now, I want y'all to tell me, listen to this verse. I need everybody out there to listen to this verse. Let's start at verse 17. Exodus chapter 31. 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 And it says, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days Yahuwah made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, which were written with the finger of Elohim. So I'm eating some nuts. So I'm gonna reread that. So it says here, and he gave. This is Exodus chapter 31, verse 18. Exodus chapter 31, verse 18. And he gave Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Islam. Nope. It says he gave him 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Christianity. Nope. It says he gave him 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Judaism. Nope. It says he gave him 2 tables of testimony. He gave him camp doctrine. He gave him camp doctrine. Nope. It says he gave him 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Islam. Nope. It says he gave him 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Hinduism. Nope. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Christmas. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Halloween. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Mother's Day. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Father's Day. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Chinese people can go to the kingdom. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Caucasian people can go to the kingdom. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him the Khazars, the imposter Khazars over there in the land of Israel, the people of the book. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him Japanese people are the children of God. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him the Easter Bunny, and he gave him the 4th of July. 2 tables of testimony. He gave him shrimp, lobster, crab, snake, whale, penguins, dolphins, rats, cats, dogs to eat. He gave him abominable hamburgers, lab-grown meat, lab-grown chicken. 2 tables of testimony. And he gave Moses, Exodus chapter 31, verse 18. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, the 10 commandments, written with the finger of Elohim. So Elohim has a finger. Did y'all know that? Did anybody in Islam, did y'all know, y'all call him Allah, but did you know that Allah had a finger? Y'all don't believe that Allah got a finger? No? Allah got a finger, but y'all say he don't got a body. Y'all ain't know that, did y'all? Now, did the camps know that? Did the camps know? Did the camps know that the Father had a finger? Did any of the camps know that the Father has a finger? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that the Father got a finger? Christ took his finger and wrote the tables of testimony. He wrote the 10 commandments on the tables of testimony. Now, I want to go somewhere else. I want to go to Exodus 8:19. I want to go to Exodus chapter 8, verse 19. I want to go to Exodus chapter 8, verse 19. The magicians said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of Elohim. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto him, as Yahuwah had said. Now, before we end this message, I want to go to something very important. I want to go to something very important before we end this message. We got a few more verses to go. Not a lot. I don't think I'm going to do all of that right there. We don't have too much. I'm going to just give you the necessary shit, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 4 and 13. Let's go to Deuteronomy 4 and 13. Let's go to Deuteronomy 4 and 13. Deuteronomy 4 and 13. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and 13. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and 13. Let's start at I want you Christians to understand something very important, right? Let's start. Now we can go to 13. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 13. Listen very carefully, Christian. If you're a Christian, I want you to listen very carefully. And he declared unto you his covenant. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments. And he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. So I need everybody to understand something very important. I had to teach a lot of you in the circumcision this because you didn't understand this. The covenant is the 10 Commandments. I want you Christians to understand something. You are not in a new covenant yet. For all you Christians out there that think you're in a new covenant, you're not in the Confederacy yet. You're not yet, I'm not even going to say the word yet, because a lot of you Christians are not going to be Confederate with Christ. You have to understand the difference between the blood covenant and the Confederacy. See, there are ultimately 3 covenants. It's actually 2 covenants. But the covenant was renovated. It's not a confederacy with the Most High. It's because here's the thing, right? And I'll do a message on this. But for right now, you can take my word for it. If you don't want to take my word for it, then you can research for yourself. I know if you go to Google, if Google decides to answer the question, it's going to say that it's a new covenant. Even somewhere in the Bible, somewhere in the New Testament, it says new covenant. But the word, it shouldn't really, well, you can say new, but it's not the way you think it is. A lot of Christians think that the commandments are done away with. If you're a Christian and you think the commandments are done away with, I want you to go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 13. And it says, and he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even the 10 commandments. And he wrote them upon the tables of stone. So does anybody out there think that we're not supposed to honor the 10 commandments? Now, we can't get them perfect because why? Because you can't get them perfect. So, see, Nat, what the boy Nat of IUIC says, is he says that you can follow the commandments to perfection. And people like me are just saying that you can't because I'm trying to hide something. See, that's the way they put it. They put it, well, you're hiding something because you're telling everybody you can't follow commandments to perfection. If Paul iterated it to us, if the original covenant, if the covenant in its original state, if it was perfect, then there would be no need to renovate it. You understand that? If the 10 commandments on the stone tablets, if they were perfect, then we wouldn't have needed Christ. You understand that? But I guess I'm a sinner. So by telling people the truth, by telling people that if you rely on the 10 commandments, if you rely on the merit of the 10 commandments, you're going to go to hell. You understand that, right? Let me say that again, because a lot of people, they don't believe me. And those of you who are wrapped up in the cult master's lies, if you listen to him, you're going to hell. You understand what I'm telling you? The only way that the commandments can be followed to perfection is to walk in the way. To walk in the way. Now, are the commandments the way? Yeah, the commandments are the way. But listen, I want to go back up to 1 Corinthians 3:11. 1 Corinthians 3:11. No other foundation can be laid other than Yahusha. 1 Corinthians 3. Now, that scripture, Paul made that very specific there. Now, in a lot of cases, you don't have to take Paul's word necessarily for everything, because not that he's a false teacher, but Paul gives a lot of advice, and a lot of people don't understand that. Like the reason why Paul says that if you're in leadership, Paul recommends that you only have one wife. Why? Because one woman is enough to handle. You can't have 2 or 3 wives while you're leading a congregation. You'll die of a heart attack. One wife is enough. Paul iterated that as advice. Paul didn't say that more than one wife was evil. He said that he said that you should not have more than one wife if you're a leader, because that's too much work. How you gonna handle 2-3 heifers and lead a congregation? That's advice. That's not Torah. That's not the law of Moses, right? No, that's Paul's advice, right? Moses didn't even give that advice. He should have. Moses should have said, well, listen, one of y'all leaders, y'all got these women, y'all got like 2 or 3 women, because back then, that's what a lot of men had more than one woman back then, right? Did Moses ever go and say, listen, such and such, listen, I know you're one of my leaders, right? You're under me, such and such. You're one of the elders here among the people. How you going to lead the people and you got one wife pregnant, one wife got 2 kids, one wife running around probably fucking the congregation? So you're going to pull your hair out with her. You got to deal with the 2 kids and the one wife, and another one is pregnant, and you trying to get up on the podium and help me lead a nation of niggas? So Paul gives advice to say, listen, if you are a leader, I'm not going to say the word bishop or deacon, because we have a lot of self-proclaimed bishops and deacons everywhere in Christianity, everywhere in camps, everywhere. People walking around calling themselves the general. How you a general and you's a coward? How? How do you mix general and coward? You can't do that. You can't mix. I don't know who told y'all that. You can't mix general and coward together. It's like oil and water. You understand that? General and coward is like oil and water. It can't operate. But that's what Paul is trying to say. He's not saying that it's illegal, but we all know that multiple wives is not wise unless you got it all together, because it's a lot of responsibility. It's not that Christ is against it. He's against it when it's done incorrectly, when you're just using the women for sexual purposes, when you don't have enough funds to treat both women equally, and all of these things. So when you're bypassing when you're bypassing the understanding of polygyny, then yeah, it's wicked. But if you're following the guidelines of it, Christ ain't got no problem with it. But you can't have 2 women and then you think you're going to go run some church, or you think you're going to go run some congregation. Them women going to drive you to hell, and the church going to drive you to hell. You're going to end up how the presidents look before and after, before they go into the office. Some people may even kill themselves. You understand what I'm saying? How you going to deal with the problems of 2 or 3 women and deal with the problems of a congregation? It's almost impossible. So that's why Paul gave that advice. Paul was a wise dude. Paul wasn't stupid. Paul was trying to explain this to people here. So Christians, we're still in the original covenant, Christians, because the covenant is the 10 Commandments. In case y'all don't believe me, what's the scripture? John, what? I forgot. When he says, think not that I came to destroy, or think not that I came to abolish the law of Moses and what the prophets said. Christ came on the scene and he told everybody, think not that I came to diminish what Moses said and to diminish what Isaiah and Jeremiah and Hosea and Moses and Abraham and David. Don't think that I came to diminish or talk down about anything that anybody in the Old Testament said. Isn't that what Christ said? Go find the address. Google it. Christ said, think not that I came to undermine the law of Moses or the prophets and what they said. No, I didn't come to do that. I came to magnify it. I came to establish what Moses said. But what I'm going to do is, because if you think that you can follow the commandments perfectly and base your merit on trying to follow the commandments, being a self-righteous dummy, if you think you can do that, you're going to go to hellfire. So the only way what I'm going to do is I'm on the scene and I'm trying to give the law of Moses and what the prophet said. I'm going to give them honor. I'm going to make them honorable. Isn't that what he said? Wasn't that a prophecy in the Old Testament? He said, for his righteousness' sake, which is actually a third party speech, because he's actually talking about himself. But he said, for the righteousness' sake, I'm going to make the law honorable. He said he was going to make it honorable. And when he stepped on the scene, that's what he meant. He said, think not that I came to diminish the law and the prophets. No, I came to establish them. From a Hebraic perspective, it means to magnify, to uplift, to make greater. The covenant got renovated. It's not the Confederacy. The Confederacy is when Christ comes down here, the reign. That is the actual New Testament. That's the actual new covenant, because we're still in the blood covenant. In the Old Testament, it was a blood covenant, but it was a blood covenant by animals, by bulls, by billy goats. You had to take the bulls and the billy goats to the altar and slaughter them for your sins. That was the original blood covenant. Now we're in the renovated or the renewed blood covenant. It's not a new covenant afresh. It's not a new covenant afresh, because the covenant is the commandments. So we're still in the commandments. Christ told us that we still have to follow the commandments, but he gave us an honorable way to do it, an honorable way to do it. He said, now, what's the honorable way? It really has always been around. The way is the honorable way, the law of liberty, the spirit of Christ. And many of you can't grasp this. You can't understand this. This is why the leadership of IUIC cannot understand this. And many other Old Testament only dummies that don't believe in the New Testament and don't believe in Yahushua the Christ. You got dummies on the internet saying that Christ never existed. Christ never mattered. There never was a Christ. You are a fool. And you're dragging people to hell with you. Don't you understand that? See, the covenant now is renovated. The covenant has been given honor now. The tablets, the stone tablets have been reversed back to the heavenly tablets. We are underneath a heavenly law now, which is the Spirit of Christ. We're no longer under the law of the tablets. Sure, the commandments, but you have to understand the commandments written on stone, the stone commandments, did nothing for us. That's why we are to no longer have a stony heart and to have a fleshly heart. This is scripture that I'm speaking. Our hearts are to be turned from stone to fleshly through the spirit of Yahushua HaMashiach, through the spirit of Christ. This is the renovated covenant. It's still the blood covenant, but now our own bodies are the sacrifice, and Christ sacrificed once and for all, so we don't have to take billy goats and sheep and bulls to the altar. See, like I said, man, I'm starting to realize, man, that damn near all of y'all 501c3 now. Somebody who I really respected some months ago, he came on the Watchman. I don't know why he did that. He came on and tried to say something about a shrine. A shrine? Why would you even preach anything about a shrine? Shrines have nothing to do with the Spirit of God. Excuse the word God. A shrine. At this point, I don't care. I don't need anybody to like this malak. I don't need nobody to like this malak. At this point, you all are struggling. Many of you are struggling not to be false prophets at this point. And don't get mad at me. If you want to be a real prophet, then be a real prophet. It's just that simple. It's just that simple at this point. You know what I'm saying? A shrine. And then you tried to promote that. If I hadn't said nothing, you probably would have kept going with it. But I know how stubborn many people are. Just because I said it, you're probably going to bring it up. You're probably going to bring it up like it's a necessity now, because that's how people are. Stubborn people, obstinate people. Just don't tell nobody it's a necessity, that's all. Because that'll be a lie from the pits of hell. And I know you fear Elohim. I know you do. A lot of y'all do, but a lot of y'all don't. Let's go to Exodus chapter 2:14. Exodus chapter 2:14. Exodus chapter 2:14. So, a lot of people, I'm going to tell you the problem with some of you false prophets on the internet that want to keep saying, you want to keep saying that the people over there in Israel, the people in Israel, you want to keep saying that they're the people of the book. I'm warning y'all, Christ is getting fed up with that shit. Christ is getting weary with your lies. You coming on Instagram, I swear I'm going to call your name. Swear I'm going to call your name. And you come on the internet like you're perfect, you're self-righteous. But you are disobedient, lying to the people and saying that the imposters over there in Israel are the people of the Bible. Let's go to Exodus. Let's start off with verse 14. Exodus 2 and 14. Exodus 2 and 14. Exodus chapter 2 and 14. And he said, who made thee a prince and judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me, and thou killest as thou killest the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. So Moses was an Israelite. Moses was from the tribe of Levi. Moses had a brother. His brother's name was Aaron. Moses and Aaron were both from the tribe of Levi. Moses, as we all know, was taken in by the Pharaoh's daughter. The Pharaoh and his daughter were Egyptians. They were from, Noah had 3 sons. Noah had 3 sons. One of the sons was Japheth. He is the progenitor of the European race. Ham, another one of his sons' name was Ham. Ham was the progenitor of the dark-skinned races. Now, don't get me wrong, the Israelites I'm the average complexion Israelite. This is what I'm trying to explain to y'all. Okay? This is what I was trying to explain to y'all. I'm smack dead in the middle. I'm not dark skinned. I'm not light skinned. I'm copper. I'm copper complexion. I'm smack dead in the middle. I am the average complexion of the Israelite. Those who the third son that Noah had, well, he wasn't the third son, but the third son that I mentioned, and I forgot who's the oldest and the youngest. I think Shem was the oldest. Was he? Correct me if I'm wrong. But Shem is the progenitor of the Israelites. So Ham, progenitor of the so-called Africans, the dark-skinned races. Shem is the progenitor of the Negroes, the Israelites, and Japheth was the progenitor of the Europeans. So how we all got where we got, that's not what I'm going to talk about tonight. But at the point that I'm trying to make is Moses was an Israelite. He wasn't a Hamite, okay, like the Egyptians and many other different types of Africans, so-called. So, but we all know that Moses was taken in by the Egyptian, by the Pharaoh's daughter. And Moses was brought in, and he eventually, long story short, we all know this, Moses became a prince beneath the Pharaoh. Moses became a prince beneath the Pharaoh. But everybody knows that Moses was not an Egyptian. Moses was not an Egyptian. So now as we keep reading, so Moses tried to help a nigga. He tried to break up a fight between two niggas because two niggas was fighting and they was trying to kill one another. And Moses came in between the two niggas and tried to break them up because he loved them. And one of the niggas that Moses was trying to help is going to look at Moses. He's going to say to Moses, "Who made you a prince? Who made you the prince to judge over us?" That's how a lot of people think about me. That's why people keep trying to demonize me. Who the hell told you not a prophet? You not a prophet, right? You not a prophet. You ain't shit. You commit adultery and you do all of this, and you had sex with a prostitute, right? And you did this and you did that, but let me tell you something, right? You hear things, but you have no proof. You understand what I'm saying? You have no proof. Some things that I did in the past, you know what I'm saying? Things that I don't do here. The things that I don't do now, right? I don't deal with prostitutes now. You understand what I'm saying? When I stepped out with my old lady, it was in ignorance. You understand what I'm saying? Because there was a better way to engage in true polygyny, and I didn't even understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be careful, because when you're dealing with other women, these other women, they're not faithful. They dealing with other men. And you bringing that home to your wife. I got a text message. That I'm going to post it. I'm going to post it on the Instagram. I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to post a text message that I was dealing with a third party female, and she wants me to leave my wife. I was dealing with a woman. My wife knew about her. Okay, my wife knew about her, and I thought this heifer had potential. But this heifer was crazy. This heifer talked about some to hell with my wife and all of this other. No, woman, that's not what we was talking about. It's not no to hell with my wife. You understand what I'm saying? See, you women think you deserve only one man, right? Now, some of you may or may not, but let me not go off the subject here, right? So he told Moses, so he snitched on Moses. His own brother went back and told the Pharaoh, Moses killed the nigga, right? Killed an Egyptian. Moses killed an Egyptian soldier. So Moses had to flee. He had to leave Egypt because for him trying to help a nigga, the nigga went and told on him, dishonored the code of an Israelite, because that's how we are as a people. That's how we are. We run off and we snitch on one another. We run off and we tell on one another. We ain't shit. A lot of you Negroes, y'all not shit. Y'all not shit, man. You got no integrity whatsoever. And y'all getting angry because somebody tell y'all the truth. So Moses had to run off, right? And now when, verse 15, now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh. So Moses had to flee from the face of Pharaoh. Right? Moses had to flee. Moses had to flee from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. Now, the land of Midian, the Midianites The Midianites were also descendants of Ham. The Midianites were so-called Africans too, but the word African did not exist during now. That's why I explained to you about this English. I'm not saying you're going to go to hell for using the word African. I use the word all the time to describe the niggas over there in Africa, right? Because we don't always have to dissect every little word. There's only specific words that's important and specific words that are going to give better understanding. So, okay, we use the word African here. No big deal. The Midianites were Africans too, just like the Egyptians were Africans. But the Midianites were of a different tribe, right? So Moses went and dwelt in the land of Midian, right? Of Midian, and he sat by a well. So Moses is sitting by a well, and now the priest of Midian, he had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water. So there was a priest in Midian that had 7 daughters, and these daughters would come to this well, and they would draw water from the well and fill the troughs to water their father's flock, so they can water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. So there were some shepherds that didn't want the women to draw water from the well, and they drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. So Moses protected the women from the shepherds and watered their flock. And when the 7 daughters went back to their father, he said, "How is it that ye come back a day soon? You came back a day soon." And the women said, "An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds. An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds." So Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian. They thought Moses was an Egyptian. Now, Moses was most likely dressed like an Egyptian. He was most likely dressed like an Egyptian, and he obviously had the Egyptian tongue. But if Moses was any other complexion, if Moses was white, like the imposters over there in Israel today, then they would have not called him an Egyptian. So Moses was dark skinned. He was dressed like an Egyptian and he spoke like an Egyptian. I understand that. But he also had the same complexion as an Egyptian, which is the main reason why they mistook him for an Egyptian. So Moses was dark skinned like the Egyptians, not the Egyptians today. A lot of the Egyptians today are whited out. Don't y'all see what's happening? All y'all got to do is go and do your research. If there's anybody out there that don't know what's going on, why a lot of races, why a lot of ethnicities are losing their melanin, are losing the pigmentation of their skin, go on YouTube and watch a series called Whited Out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the teacher. I'm not involved. I don't care about nothing. No. When I want somebody to learn about something, I don't envy. I don't get jealous. I don't try to gatekeep somebody else's content. There's a great series on YouTube called Whited Out. If there's anybody that is not quite aware of what's going on with why a lot of nations, why the Arabs over there in Saudi Arabia today are white, why a lot of the Egyptians today are white, why what happened to the Chinese people? They used to be Africans. They used to be dark skinned. The Japanese people used to be Africans. The same thing that I said with a lot of Korean people, Northern and Southern Korean people. All you got to do is look at a Korean and go like this and look away real quick. That glance that you look at that Korean, he or she is gonna look like a nigga. That's why you see a lot of these these little Cambodian girls out here, these Cambodian women and these Korean women over here in America. You see how some of them are thick, got buttocks and ass on them. The Chinese women ain't built like that. The Japanese women ain't built like that because the Africans the Africans of old were not built like that. But the Koreans and the Koreans, North and Southern Koreans, and the Cambodians, this is why China and Japan don't deal with them. Because the Koreans, North and Southern Koreans, and the Cambodians, they are descendants from Israelites. The Koreans are descendants from Israelites. That's why all you gotta do is go and look at a Korean and glance at a Korean and turn away. That quick glance is gonna look like a nigga. And don't let it be some of these Korean women. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You see some of these Korean girls, big titties and big ass. But where do you think they got that from? They got that from your sisters. They got that from the sisters. A lot of African women back in the day were not considered beautiful. They were not considered pretty. Certain African tribes, certain descendants of Hamite were beautiful, but other descendants of Hamites were not considered beautiful. A lot of African women over there, the reason why they got their buttocks, their tits, their beautiful face, a lot of them is because they've been mixed with Israelites. That's where a lot of African people get their beauty from. Don't you understand this? But the world is being whited out because of the Caucasoid races, Genghis Khan, all of these other people. What's the guy that went over there in Africa? I can't think of his name right now. But all of these people, reason why you see the pigmentation, the melanin leaving, is because Satan is well, I'm not gonna say Satan, because Satan actually it gets a little higher. So I'm not gonna say that because that could be a little offensive. Not that I'm worried about people's feelings, but it's not completely correct. It's not completely correct. Like people want to say that all of the Caucasians are Satan. That's not true. Every European is not Satan. Now we do have specific synagogue of Satan, and even on a higher level, we got a lizard people walking around here, right? But for the most part, this message is almost finished. I'm almost done. But for the most part, go watch the series White It Out. So I want y'all to do that so that you all can get a firm grasp and a firm understanding on what has happened from then until now. And the reason why, because if it wasn't for a certain thing which have taken place, the intermingling of Japhet, the whole planet would still be black. Because everybody was, even Japhet, when Japhet was born, Japhet was black. Japhet didn't come out like Esau came out. Japhet was a little nigga, okay? Japhet was a little nigga when he came out. He was the same complexion, well, probably not as dark as Ham, because Ham obviously probably was the darkest child. But you had Japhet, you had Shem, right? So they were all copper skin, dark skin, whatever the case may be, right? And I kind of understand where the concept of dark skin comes from Satan. I kind of understand that concept. Some people think that some white scholars are lying about that. Well, they might not be true completely, but I understand the concept because it might be true that Ham might be a descendant of Cain. Ham might be a descendant of Cain, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So I kind of understand, to that extent, I would understand why some white scholars would believe that, but they're not 100% right. They don't completely understand a lot of things. One of the trickiest things is before and after that flood. And a lot of people, they think they got it all sold up about before and after that flood. I won't even attack the before and after the flood situation completely yet, right? I won't even do that yet, right? Because there's just some pieces that's hard to put together. There's certain things I figured out, but certain things I still ain't got a grip on. So before and after the flood, to attack that, you got to have all your marbles in a row. Don't try to attack that thinking that you know what you're talking about and you don't know what you're talking about. You understand what I'm saying? Before and after the flood is probably as complicated as certain genealogy pools. So that's why Paul tell us to not go back and forth and argue about genealogy, because genealogy is a tricky thing. Because at the end of the day, everybody is mixed with everybody. Everybody is mixed with everybody. I'm telling y'all this right now. Now, you do have some Aryan situations, like the 13 satanic families. There are some Aryan situations. Aryan meaning Aryan. And I don't feel like getting into that right now. So you do have some Aryan families, meaning pure bloodline, pure white bloodline. But even to the extent they need melanin and they need blood of Israelites in order to survive. Okay? So I don't want to draw this message out. Okay? But there's some other verses that I could give, but I really want to just cut this short because I want you all to understand something, right? I don't want to be here all night. I want to cut it short. I don't want to be here all night. The word Christianity never existed during the time that our forefathers were called Nazarites, followers of the way. Nazarites, followers of the way. Okay? Take that word Christian and throw it in the trash. Now, you don't have to, because many of you won't do it simply because I said it. But at the end of the day, the messenger is not the problem. The problem is the cognitive dissonance, the disobedience, the refusal to humble yourself to the truth. That is the problem at the end of the day. The problem is really not with me. Your problem is personal. You have a personal problem. When you don't want to listen to the Bible, you have a personal problem. The reason why I decided to make this message tonight, when people say, well, what difference would it make if I call myself a Christian or a Nazarite? Well, it's not, like I said, it's not a difference of going and not going to hell. It's not a difference of going and not going to hell. But I'm going to tell you why it's important. Because for generations and generations, we've been passing on lies to our people. We've been passing on lies. If Negroes stop teaching their children Christmas, then the youth and the future will stop being ignorant to Christmas. If we stop teaching our children Mother's Day and Father's Day and the 4th of July and the Easter Bunny, if we stop teaching our children that bullshit, then our children will grow up to be wise. If we stop calling our children Christians and Muslims and understand that none of these things were given to Moses at the mountain, not Christianity, not Islam, not any of these things, if we bring our children back to the way, then we would become a wise nation. That's why it's kind of important to understand the authenticity of the language, because it makes a difference. It gives you a better understanding. It gives you a better comprehension. Don't you understand that? So in many cases, it's very, very important. Like I said, saying that you're a Christian won't grant you the hellfire. You won't go to Gehenna because you want to call yourself a Christian. But I'm going to tell you something right now. It will greatly suppress your understanding and your comprehension of the authenticity of the way, of understanding the way. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you call yourself a Christian, right, you deal with a lot of the twistings of the mind that the slave master gave you when your ancestors was during slavery. How can you not accept your heritage? If you are a Negro, why would you not accept your heritage unless you're trying to lie to unless you're trying to lie to your people and trying to make a bunch of other white people feel good? I'm not here to make white people feel good. To hell with your feelings. I'm not here to make Arab people feel good. To hell with your feelings. I'm not here to make Chinese and Japanese people and Russian people. I'm not here to make y'all feel good. To hell with your feelings. Throw them in the trash. I'm here to set you free. Even though the truth hurts, it will set you free and give you a better comprehension and a better understanding of the authenticity of the Bible. Because if you're a Christian, if you're a Caucasian Christian, and you think that the kingdom is for you, then you have not been set free. You have been told lies. Somewhere in Jeremiah it says that you Caucasoids and the other nations, you will come and say that you will bow, you will kneel down to Christ, Yahushua the Christ. Every knee will bow and every tongue will will pledge allegiance. Every tongue will pledge allegiance to Christ. You will come to Christ and you will say, our ancestors told us lies. Every things that are no merit to us, things that are no use. Our ancestor told us vain things. Christianity is vain. And the fact that you are the people of the book or anything like that, that all you got to do is believe in Jesus, that you're going to go into the kingdom. That is a lie from the pits of hell. The kingdom is only established for the Israelites. That's it. The only way that anybody from another nation is not going to get thrown in the pit of hell is if they respect Revelation 1:15. Understand who Christ is. Do not submit yourself to the Caucasoid Messiah, or you're going to die to death. You understand? I'm warning y'all. I'm telling y'all this now. It goes for every other nation as well. Arabs, you better denounce Allah while you have the opportunity and submit yourself to the true creator of the universe, Yahuwah. And this goes for any other nation, for any other person that's not getting down with the program. At the end of the day, every last one of y'all, you're going to get down and lay down to Christ. There's no way around this. If you are a Negro, you are an Israelite. I don't care if you think that you're Muslim. You can think that you're Muslim all you want to. Christ will certainly humble you. It will come to a day when you will denounce Islam so damn fast. Many of y'all walk around here tougher than a mugger right now. We will see when your time comes, when the tribulation comes. We will see if you keep your energy then. Okay? And for anybody, right? Understand that the Bible was originally written in Hebrew. The Bible was not written in English. No way, Jose. English is a type of language that is a witchcraft language. It's a wicked, evil language. And you have to be very careful with English. Very careful with it. Don't say like certain things because it's magical, right? All language is magical, but English was specifically designed to tear you up, to tear you down, right? If you use English a specific certain type of way, you got to be careful. You understand what I'm telling you? Jeremiah, he said that Yahushua HaMashiach is going to speak to his people in stammering lips and a different tongue so that we can understand, because he knew that we would be in the land of our captivity, the land of our Caucasoid enemies. Not all Caucasians are our enemies. Not all of them. Some of them fall in line with Revelations 14 and 15. Revelations 1, 14 and 15. They fall in line with the true Messiah, Yahushua. But there are still a lot of Caucasians out there with a very strong delusion, a very strong cognitive dissonance, that no matter what evidence is presented before them, they believe that the Messiah is a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes. And some of you Negro Christians out there, you make me sick to my stomach because you continue in your cognitive dissonance and you won't budge. Don't worry. The time is coming where everybody will budge. I promise you that. Shalom.